We know where those who need food are. You don't need to have a PhD in common sense to find people who need food. We offered the country an alternative to the shambolic approach of General Museveni and his government. And it's on this alternative that the government unwittingly is making pickings and is implementing issues haphazardly. But let me say this. Whereas the country awaits for the 100K, people thought they were dollars. No, I want to confirm that 100,000 Ugandan shillings. Whatever it can buy, heaven will tell. That we offered that this money will not suffice in the first place. Secondly, that the government approach is tokenism, which we do not support. Which is why we guided that a lockdown, an endless lockdown, is no panacea to COVID treatment. We guided that the government would consider a structured and phased lockdown. The lockdown was communicated, this is the third week, and all of us can see that it was inconsequential. The suffering communities have no food. Those without income can't pay their bills because the regime did not communicate a thorough program, a complete program to sustain the people and the economy. So what is their message on bills, water bills, rent, power? We are advising the masses to wash their hands, to wash with dust. So what will happen when the pipes run dry? So these are challenges that should have been addressed. So how are we going to sustain the economy? So the tokenism approach is not helping matters. And as we say, so if you cannot distribute money to the poor after 21 days, so what can you do to the people? Probably the Honorable Prime Minister is being honest. The regime is stuck. Probably they need to be honest and seek help. We are there to take over from them. We cannot be lethargic like they are. We know where the poor are. We know where those who need food are. You don't need to have a PhD in common sense to find people who need food. Now we have heard that, Mr. President, they are organizing a function. They are looking for money to organize the function on which they will start giving money. So they need money for a function, to organize a function to start giving out money. So countrymen and women, just know that in Kampala the government is sleeping. Rise and find your space. It is lawful. Demand for what is due to you. We continue to advise that the government must undertake to consider more sustainable approaches to this problem, because we have been advised variously by experts that COVID is not a simple cold that will go away tomorrow. Therefore, we still demand that more resources be put in more sustainable approaches, more enduring approaches, namely vaccination. I have seen a supplementary budget outed by the regime. We are waiting for it in the parliament to confirm if actually they are giving more money to vaccines. So the regime cannot procure vaccines, but they can procure tear gas. They cannot procure ICU beds, but they can procure and find money for LDUs to beat up citizens. I want to invite citizens to reject and demand space for those torturing them and beating them up when they need food. They should reject it. RDCs wisecking in the countryside and other places must be stopped by citizens. I want to encourage leaders, wherever they are, to reject the empty, arrogant wisecking of RDCs, police, and other people wielding guns and sticks. This is our country. We need solutions. Not rebuking, not being beaten. We need solutions. Solutions are all over the place. We are not an island. Why can't we copy the small approaches of our neighbors? with whom we are at par in terms of capacity. So we want to invite the country to continue demanding and reject the flimsy approach of the regime. Lastly, from me, this morning I heard variously from the media, the regime out of desperation now has reason to accuse the opposition of mobilizing people to rise up against the government because of its approach. Now, let me advise you. The citizens of Uganda do not need to be mobilized. They're actually up in the arms against your government and it will fall. This top-heavy regime will fall. People don't have to be mobilized. It will fall in its heavy, empty weight. So if you're trying to intimidate the opposition, that it should not speak, because you have been dubbed as mobilizing the masses against the government, I want to assure you that we have been mobilizing the people against you. We shall continue. We want to continue telling the people to reject you. You are useless. Papa wa magezi. Ensimbi ze muteekateeka okukolamu ebyekyejo muzikolemu ekisobola okutaasa eggwanga, kubanga ono ssenyiga teyavudde ku nfuufu efuumuuka. Muweereddwa amagezi abakugu bangi nnyo nti ssenyiga ono akyaliwo, n'ekisinga obukulu kwe kugema abantu basobole okubanga emibiri gyabwe gisobola okuguma. Ekyo tebannaba kukikola nga bwe kirina kukolebwa. Twabawa amagezi balekeraawo okulinda ebyobwereere bya mmese. Naye n'emmese ng'eneefuna weenaabiira wakiri esima w'ekituli. Gavumenti abantu gye bawa omusolo okulinda ebyobwereere okumala omwaka mulamba n'ekitundu, obwo obutemu bwennyini. Tulinza okuddibwamu okwo nga bawa abantu baleetera abantu eddagala erimala erigema tusobole okutaasa eggwanga, kubanga twagamba omuggalo ogw'olugenderezo tegugenda kuyamba ggwanga kulwanyisa COVID. Twawa n'amagezi omuggalo gavumenti eggalewo sabbiiti 2 bweggulawo, kubanga abantu bebejjanjaba bebeeriisa. Tugenda mu sabbiiti ya 3 nga gavumenti temanyi beetaaga mmere gye bali ekyabanoonya. Nakati ekyanoonya abantu batalina mmere. Twagala bategeeza nti mba mubanoonya bajja batuwako essaawa yonna mubalinde. Bwe temumanyi gye bali bajja kubatuukako mubateekera ow'okutuula. Ensonga endala, twawa amagezi nti gavumenti ekole ku nsonga esobola okuyamba bannayuganda okubeerera mu mbeera eno embi. Ekimu ku byo okubawaako embeera ey'obuweerero ku bintu bye bakozesa ewaka, amazzi, amasannyalaze, n'okwongeza omusolo gw'amayumba. Kubanga omusolo gw'amayumba omwo ne ba landlord bongeza amayumba agapangisibwa so nga abantu tebakola, tebalina ssente. Nerabye gavumenti jjo nga babyogerako ng'ebyegyeta mu lujja nti tukubiriza ba landlord. Landlord gw'okubiriza si gwe wamuzimbira ennyumba, si gwe wamugulira seminti. Gyewo omusolo gw'omutaddeko omuterewo embeera naye esobola omuyamba okuyamba abapangisa be. Ndowooza ku ssaawa eno Bannayuganda banoonya gavumenti weeri. Naffe tusinzira wano tukugamba nti gavumenti oba gy'oli weeraga eri abantu, oba toliiwo tujja kujjuza ekifo ekyo mwotali. Njala kwebaza Bannayuganda bayambye bannaabwe mu ngeri ez'enjawulo, naye njala basaba temubayamba nga muyita mu gavumenti, mweyambagane mu ngeri y'ekiddugavu, omuntu ayambe munne. Ebyagwa eno mwabitegeera, simwongerayo buyambi bwammwe, muyambagane ku miriraano.
More like we are mourning, but we are here in power. We are here in power because the people of Uganda, inland and satellite, are solidly with us. We cannot watch when a nurse in a full uniform coming from a health center at a militarized COVID roadblock in Busia is punched on her ears in full uniform. You saw it, you reported it. Her ears are damaged, she's bleeding from the ear. We cannot keep quiet and locked down when in Hoima, because of 100,000, an oxygen cylinder is pulled away and this woman died. We cannot wait and be quiet when the militarization and monetization of this COVID response has totally no human face at all. Who is an essential worker? Who determines who is an essential worker? I want to congratulate you for coming up loud, representing the voices of the people. I stated it in the women's press conference on Monday. Vox Populi, Vox Dei. The voice of the people persistently is the voice of the divine. We also here reflect that if any person, any institution, any leadership, the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem becomes a nail. You hammer it. You hammer that one. Some of the problems are eggs. If you are going to break an egg so right now we have an egg. Right now we have left the masses, the consultation with the people. People have Lubiamira, Odika, Agbadia. We had ways of isolation. We had our own ways. What happened to it? Why militarize something that needs humanity to act wholesomely? So today we're here to say you have failed. You have failed ab initio. You failed actually. Up to now, you have failed. You come out and say, please, mea culpa. Forgive us. We have sinned. So that the population can actually take charge of their dignity. I end by saying, the tokenism reflects what the icon said. If you have failed to plan, then you have planned to fail. And the human beings are not going to be waiting for you because they're already acting. I totally associate with the call of the reflection of the voice of the people by the leader of opposition. Okay? Because if you stay home, you are going to die. If you come to the roadblock, you are going to die. How do you choose to die? I choose to die with dignity, with my voice. I choose to die when I am going to my neighbors to give and share with them whatever it is. So we need to continue to share the little. We need to continue to implement the doctrine of Ubuntu, humanity. Right now, what is lacking is the software of response. The software of response to this pandemic. We are hardware. We are transactional. The government of Uganda. Transactional. We now need to be transformational. We now need to really invoke a human-centered approach to this, which will be sustainable, which will be owned, because right now nobody owns this monetization and militarization. Even the military, you know, in those many roadblocks, I passed through 10 roadblocks for COVID. It has failed. Please remove it, because what they are doing is extorting money. What they are doing is dehumanizing us. What they are doing is making us more angry. You have failed. You have totally failed. So as I conclude, Ugandans, it is upon us. Do not call leader of opposition, do not call Secretary General, do not call me, do not call Honorable Senyonyi, do not call our acting president. That you know right now the dead body, my so-and-so, please don't. We want to join you in a very sustainable response, not piecemeal. A very sustainable response. Le amotoke amasuru, ama Uganda adi woro, bonzi di amambamba, le adukidri government vele onzika na de ra, awadifo.